10 ways you might be hurting your brain. Our cerebrums are an unbelievably significant piece of our bodies. They give us our character, musings, and feelings and empower us to decipher and cooperate with our general surroundings. It's an organ we can't get a transplant for, so it's amazingly significant that we deal with the one we have right now. Unfortunately, there's own part of approaches to hurt our cerebrums, some of which might be astounding. So how about we investigate a portion of the manners in which a mind can be hurt, in some cases for all time, and, in a perfect world, do the polar opposite. Number 10. Enjoying some cannabis. Cannabis has many, numerous employments. It can cause individuals to feel great, loose, torment-free, etc. Shockingly, it can likewise weaken memory. Research has truly made some troublesome memories deciding the specific impacts that cannabis has on memory. However, there are effects. These impacts are particularly perceptible the more youthful the individual is. Studies have demonstrated that cerebrums presented to cannabis at a youthful age keep on demonstrating some effect on their subjective capacities later in their life. Fortunately, apparently the impact on youthful minds isn't totally lasting. While youthful grown-ups see decreased psychological capacity during successive use, the decrease reduces once they quit expending the medication. Number 9. Lost in a daydream. Keeping cerebrums dynamic is critical to their endurance. Minds need input and new data to process so as to keep building and reinforcing associations. As said before, the more regularly minds, particularly more established cerebrums, work to switch among engaged and unfocused states, the harder it may become to keep switching. Uncertainty. Investigate has demonstrated an amnesic impact to staring off into space. The more remote your psyche goes from where you are currently, the more noteworthy the impact, and the harder it is to recall what occurred before the fantasy. There was an examination which indicated that members who were gotten some information about an extremely late occasion, a couple of hours back, were better at recollecting words they'd quite recently been appeared than individuals who wandered off in fantasy land of occasions from weeks prior. Number 8. Not taking medicine when we're supposed to. Blood is unfathomably critical to the mind. That is self-evident, isn't that so? Our cerebrums need a steady progression of blood and sugars to continue working, and any interruption or change in the stream can have a huge effect. If somebody has been determined to have hypertension or diabetes, there's a decent possibility they are taking medication consistently to monitor it. On the off chance that a few portions are skipped, that can make untimely harm the cerebrum and veins. Verifying that medication is taken at the right occasions, without overlooking a portion, can keep the blood streaming effectively and postpone the movement of disease. Delaying such movement is significant. Studies have demonstrated that individuals with type 2 diabetes are bound to have vascular and Alzheimer's dementia. These individuals are likewise bound to have cardiovascular malady and hypertension, which influence the progression of blood to the mind. Number 7. Not exercising enough. We have to work out. Indeed, it's extreme, it requires some investment, and perhaps it's exhausting, however we need it. Our bodies need it. It's suggested that we have at any rate 30 minutes of moderate exercise a day. In the event that, similar to every other person nowadays, it appears to be a weight to commit an entire half hour to one more errand, don't stress. Short explosions of activity are extraordinary. Perhaps use the stairwell rather than the lift. Get up from the work area and stroll around the workplace. Take the pooch for a walk when you get home. There is proof that practicing like we should will likewise help with memory. It is really one of the not many memory enhancers that has great proof. Sponsorship it up. Try not to stress over after a specific everyday practice or perform practices that you detest or can't truly do. You should simply make certain to perspire. Burning some calories is key. An acceptable kind of exercise to concentrate on is oxygen-consuming activity. As we get more established, our minds really decline in size, by around 5% at regular intervals. High-impact practice is incredible for keeping that pulse up and siphoning more oxygen all through your body. As we work out, our bodies produce a compound, mind-determined neurotrophic factor, that helps battle this diminish and keep up our intellectual capacities. Number 6. Taking those memory-enhancing supplements. Each one of those memory-improving enhancements that are publicized all over the place? No doubt, as a rule, the main thing they upgrade is the wallet of the maker. There's very little, assuming any, solid proof that these enhancements are really helping us except if we are really inadequate in a vitamin. The proof additionally shows that while enhancements probably won't have a lot of advantage, they despite everything convey chance. Do you realize how enhancements are managed in the United States? For whatever length of time that the producer follows great assembling forms, cases to have supporting examination, don't make explicit clinical cases, and remembers a disclaimer for the mark, they're acceptable to go. The Food and Drug Administration doesn't really development and assess the exploration of any enhancement except if proof becomes known that it's perilous. So as long as the enhancement just marginally hurts individuals, insufficient to truly pick up consideration, at that point it will likely never be seen by the FDA. In expansion to these enhancements presumably not helping us, and possibly hurting us, they may likewise connect with different drugs we are taking. Make certain to converse with your primary care physician before utilizing natural enhancements so they can assist you with maintaining a strategic distance from some conceivably frightful symptoms. Number 5. Enjoying alcohol a bit too much. Liquor has benefits for our well-being, as you most likely know. Possibly you even think about this reality each time you top off your glass of wine or make another effort of bourbon. Sadly, as in every way, an excess of liquor is awful for you. How much is excessively, however? Studies show that 2 beverages daily is the most extreme sum that doesn't cause hurt. In any case, what amount is a beverage? For lager, it's 12 liquid ounces, expecting the brew is 5% liquor by volume ABV. For wine, it's 5 liquid ounces at 12% ABV. For 80 proof spirits, similar to bourbon, it's simply 1.5 liquid ounces. Take every one of those measures and duplicate by 2 to see exactly where the breaking point ought to be every day. With the goal that's the breaking point. However, what truly occurs on the off chance that you go over that? There's a great deal that can occur on the off chance that we drink excessively. We can grow hypertension, have a stroke, or cause harm that prompts heart failure. Brains urgently need a decent, consistent progression of blood so as to work appropriately. In the event that we begin meddling with that move through harm to our heart, at that point our cerebrum will endure the results. Number 4. Can't get enough of those cigarettes. At the point when we smoke, we don't simply hurt the cerebrum, we're really making hurt pretty much every organ in our bodies. In spite of the fact that the harm to these organs can affect the mind too, we should concentrate on what explicitly befalls the brain. It's most likely not an amazement to you that cigarettes have nicotine, yet did you realize that nicotine really makes your cerebrum change? It's actual. Cigarettes flood our minds with so much nicotine that they really manufacture more receptors to deal with everything. Since our cerebrums have every one of these receptors, on the off chance that we don't keep them upbeat, at that point we'll go into withdrawal and most likely be smoking again before long. Having a huge amount of nicotine receptors isn't all that happens to our minds. By and large, a more slender cortex than the individuals who don't smoke. This is gigantic on the grounds that the cortex, otherwise known as the cerebral cortex, is the place the mind forms memory, language, and discernment. As the cortex shrivels, the cerebrum's capacities in those zones likewise contracts. Sadly, the issue doesn't totally leave after somebody stops. Cortical thickness will be re-established, yet not all. Number 3. Indulging a bit too much in the sugary stuff. Our bodies need sugar, as glucose. The cerebrum, as the most vitality-hungry organ in the body, needs a ton of sugar. Half of the sugar required by the body goes to the cerebrum. The mind utilizes the vitality from that sugar to control synapses, which encourage correspondence all through the cerebrum and are basic for memory and learning. In the event that a mind is low on sugar, at that point these capacities endure. So we should try to give our cerebrums a bounty of sugar, isn't that so? No. I'm extremely heartbroken, however having an excessive amount of sugar in the eating routine, by uprightness of prompting weight gain, can make the body build up a protection from insulin. Insulin is a hormone that the body uses to direct its glucose levels. That is the reason insulin is so significant for individuals with diabetes. Tragically, in the event that the sugar admission causes changes in insulin levels, at that point that can change how cells use and store sugar. This change influences how the neurons use sugar and along these lines how they encourage correspondence all through the brain. In case you're interested, the most noticeably awful sort of sugar we can have is high fructose corn syrup. Tragically, food organizations utilize this in such a large number of sorts of nourishments that it's very hard to evade. Number 2. Burning the midnight oil a little too much. We as a whole need rest. There's no avoiding it. We can battle everything we need, yet inevitably, rest will discover us. Luckily, rest is something to be thankful for. It causes us structure new recollections and learn through the making of pathways in the cerebrum. Rest likewise helps expel poisons that development in our minds while we are conscious. Grown-ups need 7 to 9 hours of rest on average. Unfortunately, the requests of life step in and cause rest to appear not so significant. We have some extraordinary gathering to join in, a school undertaking to complete, or a virtual rival to smash in some computer game. We can simply look up on rest up some other time, isn't that so? In the event that we get a couple of hours, at that point we'll have an extreme day tomorrow, yet it'll all get fixed tomorrow night. Sadly, that is not so much the case. This absence of rest can make enduring mischief the mind. Consistently that rest is dodged as one more night that the cerebrum won't successfully structure new recollections and store required data. Sadness can begin to shape, which may additionally take care of sleep deprivation. Absence of rest can likewise expand hunger, which can lead individuals to eat more, possibly sweet nourishments, and create stoutness. Number 1. Being a homebody. Did you realize that investing energy with loved ones is significant for your cerebrum? It's actual. Being social can fortify your cerebrum and lessening the danger of dementia. How accomplishes that work? Having positive social commitment improves psychological well-being, in this way improving our viewpoint and decreasing the danger of sorrow, which is unquestionably known to negatively affect the mind. Effectively captivating with individuals likewise assists with improving your memory and other subjective skills. What's far superior is on the off chance that you pair social commitment with physical action. Taking a stroll with somebody in the recreation center, going to a class at a rec center, or visiting a historical center permits you to connect socially and hit your activity objectives. It's a 2-for-1 deal. All of this social commitment keeps your psyche dynamic. A functioning brain is vital to battling dementia. It's speculated that more seasoned individuals make some harder memories exchanging between dynamic reasoning and staring off into space, which would then be able to prompt debilitating of the mind. With socialization, new recollections are picked up, data is shared, and afterward when we rest, our cerebrums can absorb this information and structure new associations and fortify others. That doesn't imply that we should consistently be socially dynamic, obviously. Serene, calm time at home can have a gigantic worth. Simply ensure that there is a parity.